Looking for Monday Night Football best bets, NFL Week 12 expert injury analysis, fantasy football tips, waiver wire targets, and our early line locks? Well, my friends, you come to the right place. This NFL Week 12 fantasy tips and betting preview edition of the Degen Docs on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPNDOC to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sportsbook available in 45 states. Download the Rebet app and use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $100. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football in the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, DJs, far and wide. What we love to do here. Let's talk injuries. Biggest one, Brandon Ayuk, ACL, MCL, multi-ligament knee injury. He's out for the season. Josh Oliver, anytime touchdown, plus 850, which was 10-1 earlier.
From a Denver standpoint, give the defense to get in the end zone.
Welcome to the official Degen Docs Red Zone Bitching Hour.
The only thing I want to bitch about is basically they were so bad that CD was just, he had a decent day. Let's get this off the screen for just a second. I'm going to hijack this. We're going to go to the professor's office hours.
Oh!
For a second here.
Welcome, DJs, far and wide, to another edition of the Degen Docs. What is up, folks? I'm one of your hosts, the OG Degen Doc, and I am joined, as always, by my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Derek Bennett, a.k.a. Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother?
Hey, what a weekend this past weekend was. Starting off Friday with a throwback to Mike Tyson and his boxing days. I think everybody's getting a little hyped up for that fight. Didn't end up how a lot of us necessarily wanted it to, but then we rolled into Saturday, had a hell of a slate Saturday, watching some college football games, and then finished it up on Sunday with a Steelers dub against those Ratbirds over there from Baltimore.
Huge Steelers W there. Yes. Look, I think Friday, although we may not have gotten what we wanted, we got maybe a little more than we bargained for. Mike Tyson, of course, pre-fight interview, showing that he still does not give a damn, showing his bare asshole to all of however they said 63 million people tuned in or whatever.
63 million people on Netflix.
I know I was not one of those. I was actually one of the 6.6 million on Antonio Brown's X live feed. So
while we're going there, can we go ahead and start bitching hour a little early? I know you want to talk about something else, but as an NFL fan that is going to be hopefully watching my team on Christmas Day on Netflix, they better figure out what the heck is going on with all of this this buffering stuff and glitch. Like that was borderline pathetic in my opinion from Netflix's standpoint.
Yeah.
Like that was amateur hour, how to present a live event.
Yeah, and they kind of, the execs came out and said, "Oh, well, we're a streaming service. We're not really used to the live." You offered it. Don't advertise
that market.
Let's stop being rude here. First of all, I apologize for the late start to the show. It's a fucking Monday, folks. Let me tell you.
Technical difficulties. We're hitting hard.
I know I need it, so I know you need it. So cheers to you. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully my beer doesn't explode again. One of the many hiccups here. But look, this is not a reason to be sad. Today is a monumental day, not in just the National Football League, but really when it comes to the context of life right now, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, remember this day. It is 18 November 2024 because Daniel Jones is finally benched. The era of suffering, pain, and torture is done. Look, I got my Giants gear. I know we're ass and ass this year, but it's a great day. I mean, look, Daniel Jones, I've tried to defend you for 6+ long, torturous years, and he's done. He's benched, not even backup quarterback. QB number 3, they said, we don't want, we would owe him $25 million if he got injured, couldn't pass a physical next March. He's done. So I just want to really quickly bring this up. Let's look through some of Daniel Jones's final stats. This is the 6th pick there that the Giants essentially set their franchise back to the Stone Ages for. Let's see, at home games matter. 35 games, 7,000 passing yards, 29 pass touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Overall record, 24-44, and the one tie to Washington Redskins Commanders football team. This doesn't even have his fumbles on there. I mean, it's just 70 games, 73 turnovers. I think that's probably enough to show how Giants fans are feeling. So, look.
Yeah.
Ding dong, the Wicked Witch is dead, baby. Look, man, I don't want to be a hater too much. I'll get off my haterade, but I'm just excited that they're not going to roll out Daniel Jones. He doesn't have the opportunity to finish, 7-10, win some games that don't matter, and try to bring people back to that Minnesota Vikings playoff game where, they were holding out hope. So he's done. And that's really all I have to say. I mean, I don't even really have much to bitch about. Coming off a 3-1 week on the locks, props were whatever, but I'm happy as a Giants fan. I'm in a great mood. Overall, pretty good weekend for the show. I know you were 2-2, 2-1 in your prop.
2-1 in props, 2-2 on the locks. Yeah, I think overall it was a decent week for the show. I think
on consensus plays there.
Yeah,
we both hit the Steelers. We both hit. Who else were we on? Was it the Broncos?
The Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos pick. No sweat there. Yeah. No sweat there. Obviously, Steelers
which was also good for our Bucks to win the NFC South there. So that was good. The Falcons have started to struggle here over the last couple of weeks, dropping a couple. The Bucks are kind of right back in the swing of things coming off their bye. So
yeah. All right, my friend, let's get right into the Monday night games. Obviously, we want to get that on here before we go ahead and before this game kicks off here. So before we do that, let me tell you about the SGPN app. That's right. If you haven't downloaded the SGPN app, you're missing out. SGPN gives you access to all the podcasts on the networks and the picks page in one of the convenient apps. Plus, like all of our content, the app is completely free. Type in SGPN in your app store to download it today. Look, folks, obviously we want you to listen to our show, but I will say, man, the guys on the network are doing well. I know the main flagship, I jumped on there. Will Dissly, 22-1 anytime first touchdown score, last night.
Yep.
That was a nice way to end the night. I gave out Chargers and a couple props there that did pretty well. So we finished up pretty well on the Sunday night slate. Another reason to follow us on X, but definitely check out that SGPN app. We've got Joseph checking in. Cheers, Joseph. Right. Happy Monday night, brother. Yes, the Tommy Cutlets era, baby.
Exactly. Paisan is taking over New York. Hopefully, Tommy
Cutlets giving out props. I love it. Rushing props. That's probably not a bad. Even though the offensive line is not, I will say, is not as bad as it was where he literally had to run for his fucking life. So
no doubt.
But all right, brother, let's get into it because I know these people want to get these bets in. We got a game kicking off in 20 minutes, and things can be. This might be our first stinker. We were talking about how primetime games we've been really kind of fortunate. We've had some great games. Yeah. I mean, even just this week, who was the Thursday? Now, who was the Thursday night game? Now I'm drawing a blank.
It was the Eagles and Commandos.
Yes, Eagles and Commanders game coming down to the wire. Really, fourth quarter coming down to a stupid Stupid Dan Quinn decision. If I had more time, I'd throw him so far in the fucking locker for going on it in 4th and 2. Not taking the lead. It's a 10-12 game midway through the 4th quarter. Fuck your analytics. Take the field goal. All right, let me calm down. Looking forward. All right, so we've got the Houston Texans at 6-4, heading on the road to take on the Dallas Cowboys at 3-6. Do you have the live lines for us?
Yeah, we're still sitting at 7.5. We can get the Texans at plus money or even money. Cowboys is sitting at minus 120. Total still sitting at 41.5 at minus 115. We can get the Texans on the money line at minus 375 and the home Dallas Cowgirls at plus 295 still.
Okay. All right. So, definitely. Looks like the graphic is fully updated. Definitely the number moving in the way of the Texans, as you would imagine. I mean, what are we really getting behind there? Over under 41.5. All right. I'm going to go through the injuries really quick. It's pretty cut and dry. We already have the inactives list out, so this one will be pretty easy. And then Derek's going to tell us how this game's going to go down. So both these teams missing a decent amount of players and some key players at that.
For sure.
Starting with the visiting Houston Texans, we've got wide receiver Stephon Diggs, obviously out for the year with the ACL tear, still on IR. Left guard Kenyon Green is on IR as well. He will be out. Then defensive line's a little bit beat up here for the Texans. Defensive end Will Anderson Jr. out for this week, dealing with the ankle injury. Defensive tackle, this one is, let me take a swig before I say this one. Faloronso Fatukasi. I know it's Fatukasi. But definitely butcher that first name, so sorry there. And then defensive tackle Mario Edwards is also out as well. And then cornerback, rookie from Georgia, Kamari Lassiter, solid player for them, a starter for them, is out with a concussion. He missed his 2nd straight week in a row. Mm-hmm. Then moving over to the Cowgirls side, we have 2 cornerbacks out. Deron Bland, the other end opposite of Trayvon Diggs. And then their nickelback, Jordan Lewis, is also going to be out. They will have the rookie Kalen Carson, who's been playing well for them. Still no DeMarcus Lawrence on IR. Dak Prescott out for the season. And then fullback Hunter Lepke, who has been, pretty important in their, not just rushing, but also in their pass protection game. He's going to be out as well. So some pretty key guys on both sides of the ball. It's hard to say really who has the health edge there. I mean, the Texans have their starting quarterback and the Cowboys don't. So I think that is, got to flip it towards Houston's side. But how do you feel about this game, and what are your best bets for this Monday Night Football matchup?
Yeah, I think it really, just like so many games, will come down to what those guys, those big hogs up front are going to be able to do for really both the Texans and the Cowboys. The Cowboys definitely struggled last week offensively, but at the same time, like, the Texans' offensive line has struggled pretty much all season, making sure that C.J. Stroud can sit back in the pocket and pick apart defenses. So this could be one of those games where Micah Parsons can take over a little bit. He is one of the best defensive players in the league, and I don't necessarily think that Houston Texans offensive line is just going to magically figure out how to keep guys off of CJ Stroud. So how I see this game going, I do think this is going to be a close one. Basically the line's telling us that there's not going to be a ton of points scored at 41.5. So this is one of those that I'm going to try to thread the needle a little bit. I do think Houston ends up winning, but I think the Cowboys cover in this one. So a few props that I like. I was looking at Joe Mixon. I think he does have a big game, but when I was looking earlier this evening, his rushing yards was just a little bit too steep for me. So I ended up actually taking him to have the most rushing and receiving yards in this game at minus 110. Other guys that I like Dalton Schultz in this game, kind of a revenge angle there to score plus 300. And then I ended up taking his him for the first touchdown as well. I do think Rico Dowdle can have a little bit of a game coming out of the backfield. As you said, I think there's 3 defensive linemen out for the Texans. So I think Rico Dowdle could have a little bit of a day, especially with Cooper Rush sitting back there for the Cowgirls. So there's that. CJ Stroud, again, probably going to be under some pressure. So I like his over 9.5 rushing yards. I did start a little Joe Mixon ladder at 100 and 110 plus at plus 105, plus 150. And then going back to Dalton Schultz, over 2.5 receptions for the tight end there.
Good. Yeah. So, wow, you're all over. I love it because it's going to be an ugly game. So this is one of those games where I'd much rather be rooting for my props than trying to enjoy this probably sloppy game. So you got the Texans winning, the Cowboys covering. Did you say you're on the under?
I'm staying away from the line. I think it probably will end up going under, but I am not super confident in that. I'm more confident in the line itself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no. So I actually will be going under 41.5. It's something I kind of toiled with for a little bit there, but I ultimately do think it's going to be an ugly game. I mean, look, you've got Cooper Rush threw for 45 yards last week, and the Texans pass defense is actually kind of one of their strong suits, right? They're only giving up 175 yards through the air. I know you have CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb coming in with a back injury. He's going to play, but look, I mean, you're demotivated when you have Cooper Rush throwing you the ball for, I think his average depth of target was like 2 yards. So,
well, and speaking of that, like we did see a Trey Lance appearance last week. So I did end up taking Cooper Rush's under passing yards too, because who knows if he's going to even be in the game come the second half.
Yeah, I mean, defense that just picked off Jared Goff, potential MVP 5 times. So
yeah,
I can't say we love Cooper Rush there. But also, the Texans have not been a team that's been lighting it up like everyone's thought they were going to, which is why I did not take them on the spread either. They're a team that's kind of played down to their competition and kind of struggled at some points, got some field goals or some bad turnovers in spots they should not have. So I will go on the under there. I think it is really going to be one of those ugly primetime games.
And we do have to take into consideration Mike Tyson's ass cheeks were all over that Houston Texans locker room just Friday. So, you know, it still may have some stench back there in the locker room. Who knows?
That's a great elite handicap there. That is absolutely true. Mike Tyson's sweaty balls might still be resonating in that locker room. Exactly. All right, going to the props that I like tonight. I'll start with the Houston Texans side. Give me Joe Mixon, 100+ rush yards at plus 105. I know you said it's chalky. I know you said it's a little bit too much for you. I think it's going to hit. I think Mixon's going to have a game. Yep. I think, the attempts over on DraftKings was like over 21.5 was minus 145. Just too much juice for me to lay. Look, this Cowboys defense, they're giving up 152 yards on the ground. We've seen Joe Mixon have some monster games. I think that's just, good on good. The Texans, they rush for about 120 yards a game. Again, the Cowboys have not been able to stop the run. I don't see a reason that they're going to. Potential for the Texans to be playing with the lead a little bit. I don't think they need to try to throw the ball over the yard. I'm also going to go with Tank Dell, though. 60+ receiving yards at plus 140. A little bit of fade of the Nico Collins. Look, I think Nico Collins, they said he's going to be 100%. Said he's going to be a full go. But his first week back off a hamstring strain, even more so for me, is the fact that, look, the Cowboys have 2 cornerbacks out. They have the cornerback out opposite side, Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland, and their nickel back at Jordan Lewis.
Yeah, now, if you weren't going to go there, I was, because I think that does make a lot of sense. Diggs will probably line up outside with Nico. Yep. Nico coming off that hamstring injury. I like where you're going there.
Yeah, so I do think Tank Dell, I'm going to officially give out 60+ yards at plus 140. I did take his ladder. I think it's up to 5-1 on 100+ yards. I think if anyone has a game, I think Tank Dell is able to get loose there just because they're going to roll coverage to Nico Collins and have Diggs on him. And why throw at Diggs if you can throw at, a backup cornerback? So that's where I'm going for the Houston's offense side. On the I got a couple sprinkles I'll give out later. For the Cowboys offense, I'm really focused on one player. And it's Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle, look, Mike McCarthy said he is going to be the RB1. Last time we saw Zeke Elliott, he was fumbling out of the end zone. I think they're done with the Zeke experience. I think they're ready to try to just feed Rico Dowdle. I mean, literally, you have Cooper Rush or Trey Lance. You have to come up with a better game plan. I think they're going to try to play bully ball a little bit and, get behind this offensive line. Zach Martin was questionable, but he is going to play. Still, that interior offensive line is pretty good. This is a team that, they've struggled to run the ball in typical situations, but when you don't have Dak Prescott back there and you're not just spamming 50 pass attempts, I think they're going to be forced to run. They'll have some success. I mean, this is a rush defense for the Texans that only giving up, they're giving up 113 yards on the ground, but 4.6 yards per carry. I think it's a little bit less about them being able to be stout against the run and teams not really trying it against them too much. Again, not only do they have a great secondary, but you got Cooper Rush as your quarterback or Trey Lance. I think they're going to try to feed Rico Dowdle. So I'm going to give 60 plus rushing yards at minus 105. I like it all the way up to 100 plus at plus 450. I also like his rush and receiving. 100 plus is at plus 170. And then I took the 125 plus, I think at 450 was what it was when I got it. So I'm big on Rico Dowdle. I think both in the rushing and the receiving game. And like Jarek talked about, the Texans have 3 defensive linemen who are going to be out this game. So Rico Dowdle to have a day is going to make me very happy. And then some defensive props because, I love them. Jalen Petrie over 5.5 total tackles, minus 125. If I think the Cowboys are going to run the ball, then I'm going to take the safety that's going to be playing down by the line of scrimmage. He plays in the box a lot. He is not afraid to stick his nose in there. I think there's going to be opportunities to make tackles for Petrie. I don't think they air it out a bunch, so I think he easily soars over that number. And then the flip side, Eric Kendricks over 3.5 assists. He's hit this in every game since week 1. So it's a situation where, look, I think Mixon gets a lot of work as well. And there's going to be some mucky situations where it's going to be kind of giving out these assists. He's all over the field. Kendricks is really the leader of that defense. I think he's going to have his hand in a lot of plays. Like I said, he's hit this number every week except for week 1. So I think Kendricks over 3.5 assists. And then my sprinkles, John Mechie, 60 plus at 12 to 1. This is kind of the CYA for the Tank Dell. If it's not Tank Dell that's taking advantage of that nickel cornerback who's going to be a backup, then maybe John Mechie. He's been getting some more reps there. And then Cade Stover, anytime touchdown, 12 to 1. Also, first touchdown, 45 to 1 if you're into that type of degeneracy there. I liked your angle with the tight end. Look, I think that the tight ends, it's susceptible. The Dallas Cowboys defense is susceptible to the tight end. I think Dalton Schultz is a popular play. I think that definitely could be, that could be the thing, but I like to take the long shot on the tight end number 2 there, Cade Stover. He's on the field a lot. So anytime touchdown, 12 to 1, first touchdown, 45 to 1. All right, folks, this is going to be one of those shows where we're still going to be rolling on, so we get to just watch. You guys get to tell us if we cash our bets during the show, because that's always fun. I still remember the Josh Oliver plus 850 anytime touchdown. That was fun. So let's hope we continue to do that. All right, anything else on this game? Are you ready to move on?
Let's move on. Let's talk some injuries.
All right, let's talk some injuries. Yes, this is our bread and butter here as health professionals. This is what you come here for, the expert injury analysis. So let's get it started here. Starting with Atlanta wide receiver Darnell Mooney dealing with a hamstring injury. Look, hamstring injuries, we got a couple on them, so let's just talk about them in big-time terms here. Yeah. Obviously, damage to the hamstring muscle itself. The most burdensome injury in the NFL. Why don't you tell us why?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, especially with hamstring injuries, like it bothers you for 3, 4, 5 days, and then it feels pretty good just walking around doing your everyday things. But as soon as you start doing more explosive things, higher, needing to produce higher amounts of force, like those muscles just aren't ready to go yet. So partially it's like a strength thing, but we also have to take into consideration like the velocity at that these dudes are running and jumping at. So, the big things with hamstring injuries, the reason why we have seen kind of this delayed comeback a little bit more so this year than others is because we're finally figuring out that like the re-injury risk is super high with hamstring injuries in particular, because it's so important for running and jumping and doing all kinds of things that football dudes just need to do all the time. So with, guys like Darnell Mooney, Roquan Smith, there's probably a few guys on here, George Kittle as well. Like they may feel perfectly fine come Wednesday, come Thursday. They may even try to practice on Friday, and all of a sudden it's grabbing at me, coach. It's kind of still there. Yeah, it's going to be. Usually this is a 2-3 week thing at this point. It kind of depends on the severity, like a lot of injuries, but we have seen this trend where guys are sitting out 2, 3, 4 weeks before coming back. And I think it's a good thing. And that's what kind of why I do think Nico Collins probably has a little bit, or he has a chance at having a day. Now, Trayvon Diggs, definitely one of the better cornerbacks in the league. So we'll see how that goes. But he missed, 5 games?
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, with guys like Darnell Mooney, Roquan Smith, Kittle, we'll start to know more in the coming days, but I would not be surprised if all of those guys are out another week or so.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like Derek talked about, that it's really hard to determine if your body's ready for full sprint, full activity. And so when you take that chance, it's a bit risky because it does not take a lot for a re-injury to happen. High re-injury rates, you have to be careful. So during the season, as guys are really trying to press their recovery timelines because they're trying to get back on the field, these hamstring injuries are a bit of a red flag there. We've seen, Mike Evans, Nico Collins, multiple guys really be hampered by this injury, and it's for good reason. All right, look, folks, if you have any specific injuries that you want to know about, definitely drop them in the chat now so we can make sure we get to them. But we're going to roll on here. A couple quick ones. Look, Thursday Night Football, you've got the Pittsburgh Steelers heading to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Cleveland side of things, their left tackle, DeJuan Jones, fractured his ankle. He's out for the season. He was the backup left tackle for Jedrick Willis, who's been dealing with a knee injury, a significant knee injury, I think ACL, MCL, from the offseason. And he's still kind of been in and out of the lineup. He's kind of got a re-injury there. Did not play last week. Now he did not practice today. So they could be on their left tackle number 3 going up against TJ Watt and Herbig and Preston Smith and them boys. And then good news, though, for cornerback Denzel Ward. Left the game with a chest injury. He was labeled day-to-day and was a limited practice. So there is some optimism for Denzel Ward, who's obviously one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Why don't we talk about Alex Anzalone with his forearm fracture there?
Yeah, it's broken. So like we've talked about with other bone-related things, like it's fairly straightforward what those guys need to do in order to get back. They need to sit out about 6 weeks.
Yep.
Let the bone reheal, and then they're good for all intents and purposes. Like, bone breaks are obviously not great when it comes to football, but the recovery process, and even once these guys get back on the field, we usually don't see much of a dip. So when it comes to Anzalone, like, yes, he's going to miss the rest of the regular season, but he should be back for a primetime playoff run.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and he's a huge kind of part of that defense. He's really helped step
Tackle
up.
Machine.
Exactly. My Gator guy there, former Florida Gators. Shout out to the Gators, man. Beating LSU in the swamp. DJ Lagway is a motherfucking stud. All right. So hey, if you're a Gators fan like myself, there is better days to come. Absolutely. All right. What did you say?
There's hope.
There's hope. Yeah. Billy Napier's kind of slipped that out of us for a while. All right, let's continue on there. Jair Alexander, man, he's such a good player. He just can't stay off the injury report.
Yep.
Still kind of need some more information on this one, but dealing with the knee injury, ruled out of the game. So one to monitor for next week. Also in the same accord, Jags best cover guy, Tyson Campbell, dealing with the shoulder injury. Maybe he just left the game because they were getting their ass kicked by so much. But that's definitely they are going into their bye week. So he'll have some time to rest up. But, one to watch there with both Alexander and Campbell. Why don't we talk about Alexander Madison as far as why don't we talk about both those Vegas running backs there with Madison.
Alexander Madison and our boy Zamir White, both going to be out, in the near future. Madison has an ankle injury. We need to get a little bit more information to really be able to give good analysis. As far as the length at which he'll be out, he'll definitely be out this coming week, though. And then Zamir White, still dealing with some quad related stuff. He's going to be out for at least a couple weeks. So that leaves Amir Abdullah and anybody else that can tote the rock.
What are they going to do? Gardner Minshew?
I mean, at this point, you might as well try it. I think it's one of those things where we may want to watch the Raiders and just see if they bring in any dudes, off the street and to give them a little bit of help.
Yeah,
they're coming out of the backfield. But at this point, over at least next week, if not the next 2 or 3 weeks, Amir Abdullah is going to be their dude.
Yep. All All right, let's talk about another big one in George Kittle. He is expected to practice Wednesday. So some good news there after not playing last week. And 49ers taking another L. Good for – we were talking about both the Rams and the Cardinals to win that division a couple weeks ago. So some nice prices on them. I've been on the 49ers under 9.5 all season. So I like to see that. Geno Smith running there. Along with him is Nick Bosa, a guy who was dealing with multiple injuries, clearly was too beat up to go that final drive where Geno Smith did eventually run it into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. Dealing with what we call a hip injury, some oblique. He's pretty beat up. So a big questionable there. I mean, it does seem like he's closer to hurt than injured. So there
San Fran just can't get off the chopping block of injuries. It seems like they get one dude back, they lose two. They get two guys back, they lose one. Every other week, it seems like, and it's not just like, your second, third string guys. Like they're losing studs left and right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, part of the reason why they're at 5-5 right now and kind of fighting for their division and playoff lives.
Yeah.
A couple other quick ones we will go through. Again, if you have questions, just drop in the chat. We will get to it sometime later in the show. Let's talk about Eric McCoy, center for the New Orleans Saints. He was on the IR with a groin injury, and he re-injured his groin in his first game back. Not a good sign. Would expect him to be out multiple weeks, if not shut down for the season. Even though the Saints, man, and Rizzy, that interim coach, special teams coaches like Rick Bisaccia, they bring that energy. And look, I know we didn't have time to put the Browns in the locker, but holy shit.
I was just going to say, is it truly Coach Rizzy, bringing the Saints back to life, or do the Browns just suck?
Well, we think the Falcons suck, so maybe the Browns just suck as well. We're going to really find out on Thursday night to see what they have coming there. Jameis did throw for like 400 yards, though. Nick Chubb didn't get it off as we thought, even though he was rushing for like 4.5 yards a carry. They just stopped giving him the ball. But we'll see. That'll be an interesting one. Speaking of the Steelers, their number one cornerback, Joey Porter Jr., dealing with a shin contusion, which is basically just a bruise to that bone. So he should be good to go for next week or this week on Thursday night. Because it's Thursday night, kind of one you want to monitor a little bit more closely. But I didn't see if he practiced today. I don't know if you can.
I didn't see that one. Coach Tomlin did come on and say that Alex Highsmith is trending to be out this coming week as well, which makes some sense. You get a little bit of an extended period after the Thursday night game. So why not rush? Yeah. Why rush to that?
Yeah, no. And then I will say, though, your rookie there, Corey Trice, I think he's a rookie, right? Cornerback.
Second year guy.
Second year. All right. Well, he's full practice. He should be activated off the IR this week. So that should give you some secondary help there. A couple other quick ones, and then we're going to move on. Tennessee linebacker Jack Gibbons, broken ankle, out for the season. Tennessee running back Tajay Spears dealing with concussion. Look, this is going to be kind of one of those, the concussion protocol like we talked about. It kind of depends on what week of the NFL you're getting it at. Early on, nobody was clearing in a week. That's kind of changed a little bit. I'd still say he's about like 30% chance to clear, but you got to kind of watch it. Remember, Thursday practices are your key practice there. I do want to talk about Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks is expected to be finally making his debut. The rookie coming off an ACL tear from Texas is supposed to be his first game off the ACL. He's going up against a Kansas City defense that's really good against the run and going to be pissed off their first loss. What are expectations for Jonathan Brooks this game and the rest of the season?
I'm very low on Jonathan Brooks, especially this week going up against the Chiefs. But probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. We still have Chuba Hubbard back there with Carolina, so it's going to be a split carry situation most likely anyways. You already mentioned it. The Chiefs have the number one rush defense in the league, if not number one, top 3 probably. So there's that. But even with a seasoned vet, coming off that major ACL related injury, Nick Chubb, it's taken him a little bit. We still haven't seen that break off game that Nick Chubb usually has. So Jonathan Brooks coming off that ACL tear as a rookie, sharing carries, towards the back 3-4 games of the season. Could he start to show something potentially, but I don't see a great pathway for success, at least over the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. No, I agree. Definitely not this week. And I mean, Chuba Hubbard, man. Chuba Hubbard's a solid ass back. So why try to go away from that? All right, a couple quick updates. You really just paid him, what, 2 weeks ago? That's a great point. A couple guys who are going to be out for the season. Important pieces there. Really, Cincinnati cornerback DJ Turner took over for Dax Hill after he went out with an injury. He fractured his clavicle. He's going to be out for the season. I mean, this defense has already been pretty bad. So to that pass defense, so for him to go out, I mean, that's going to be huge. And then you got Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Gabe Davis out for the season with a meniscus tear that they're going to do.
Really that big though?
That's
true. Jacksonville is not very good.
Mac Jones, man, they got their ass kicked. So, and then two more real quick. Jamil Dean, cornerback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, activated off IR, expected to play this week, and so is Green Bay running back Marshawn Lloyd, the rookie out of USC, finally potentially may get back on the field. We'll see. Still pending because every week it seems like he's back, and he's just not. All right, folks, we're going to continue on here. But before we do, I got to tell you about mybookie.ag. Because we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. SGPN started out with MyBookie, and we're back. Check out the new and improved website. Great on mobile. Plus props for every game in the live dealer casino. So hopefully, hey, we gave out the Monday plays now. Hopefully you can take those. Or we'll be live Thursday. We'll be giving out our Thursday night props where we really swept the board on props last Thursday. So join us with the heater and get down on mybookie.ag. Early cash out option. So head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And then we're also brought to you by Rebet. That's right. Rebet is a brand new social sportsbook available in 45 states. It's so brand new. We haven't even had the graphic yet, but I have to tell you folks about it. It's a huge market on betting opportunities that are all available on Rebet. Easy to use and great for people in the States where traditional sportsbooks may be a bit restricted. So download Rebet in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. I know I just got a notification. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, so our guy Joseph did update us. Joe Mixon, first touchdown, 45-yard run, capped off by a Fairburn extra point. So the Texans are up 7-0.
Okay, so maybe not great for my under, but Mixon 100+ yards, I will take that. Also, I have him in fantasy, and I need to pull out a win here with playoffs on the line. So speaking of fantasy, let's talk about our NFL Week 11 Warriors and Wussies.
Sure.
Do you want to be a hater today, or would you like to
give me the Wussie?
All right, I will start us off with our Warrior, Mr. Josh Allen, my fantasy quarterback in a couple of my leagues there. I mean, we talked about it. You gave out his prop, even though you did take Kansas City, so I'm not, maybe some mixed signals there, but you were on Josh Allen as a smart man. Look, he did it through the air and he did it on the ground, and really it's the 4th and 2. It's the 4th and 2, up by 2, game on the line. This is it. This is, you're at home. You got to beat the regular season, they've had their number, but let's be honest, in the playoffs, it's Mahomes has owned it. And he put it on his back, and he absolutely ran over some people and got in the end zone. So for that, Josh Allen, you are the Degen Docs Warrior of the Week. All right, let's talk about someone who should probably not be mentioned in the same sentence as Josh Allen.
Yeah. Our Cole's daddy himself, Kirk Cousins, did not necessarily show up out there in Denver. I don't know if he made a Cole's run before and was distracted or what, but he had a pretty bad day going up against that Denver defense that really has showed out most of the season. Going 18 for 27 for $173 through the air. He did throw a pick. The Falcons basically just got embarrassed in Denver, going against the rookie Bo Nix. Atlanta's offense just could not get going. We had a couple guys in consideration for the Wussie of the Week, both of which were Atlanta Falcons, because Bijan didn't really do a whole lot on the ground either. So we ended up going with Kirk Cousins because he did turn the ball over And Bijan ended up just having more fantasy points this week than Kirk did. So Kirk Cousins got to do better, man. Except for, hey, you're going into the bye, and we've been on kind of the Atlanta sucks train most of the season, and over the last couple weeks, it has started to show, and we're loving it. So if he wants to continue to suck, please do.
Exactly. I mean, hey, it's one of those where you're a wussy, but we both had our locks against you, so we appreciate your wussification.
Although we did tell people to fade Drake London this week, so.
And he went under his prop. 62.5, 61 yards. We were right in the needle, but we got there, baby. It's all that matters. All right, let's go ahead and stick with the fantasy space. And look, folks, it's NFL Week 12. Fantasy playoffs are 2-3 weeks away, depending on your league. They're right around the corner. I mean, it's put up or shut up time. You need wins. This is what separates the chumps from the champs. Yep. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you about two, and I'm going to let Derek take the rest here.
Sure.
So Anthony Richardson, still available in more than 50% of leagues. I know he's somebody I picked up as soon as they announced that they were going back from Joe Flacco. So hopefully you're able to get on that. But if not, and some people are still in your league sleeping, look, they're going to go with them. I mean, he is what he is through the air. I mean, he's going to make some great throws. He's going to make some throws that are going to make you want to pull your hair out as a Colts fan. But as a fantasy owner, you love the gunslingers, and you love the guys who are going to put their foot in the ground. They're going to put their head down, and they're going to go find the goal line. 2 touchdowns last weweek, so his rushing upside speaks for itself. I know the Detroit Lions defense has been pretty well, but look, no Alex Anzalone, no Aiden Hutchinson.
And after they play them, looking forward in the season, they play one team that has a winning record, and that's Denver, at Denver. So they do have some poor defenses coming up.
Yeah, favorable matchups coming forward. And then Roschon Johnson, look, Bears running back, a guy who they probably should have handed the ball off to once or twice when they got down in what they considered field goal range. But that's neither here nor there. But Vikings, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Vikings this week with a good rush defense. However, a guy who can stick his head around the goal line. And again, now we're starting talking about not just this week, but going forward, some guys that are going to really give you some value as you get into the playoffs there. All right, my friend, why don't you tell us about the other 3 guys that people should be targeting for NFL Week 12?
Yeah, let's start with Ameer Abdullah. And we've already talked about that Raiders backfield, how beat up it is. He's going to be the guy over the next week or two going up against Denver. Not the best matchup, but again, he is the only option at this point that they really have that has carried the rock to this point. He's also a receiving threat coming out of the backfield. So Ameer Abdullah might be a good option for you, especially with all of the teams that we have on bye this week. I think there's 6 teams on bye, which is absolutely crazy. The Atlanta Falcons, Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, Jacksonville Jaguars, New Orleans Saints, and the Jets are all on bye.
Yep.
Let's go to Alec Pierce as well, especially with Anthony Richardson coming back. Alec Pierce kind of is at least his top 2 wide receiver.
He loves him. I mean, he's a favorite target by far.
He does love him. And, he's consistently got targets. I think he's got at least 3 catches in the last 3 weeks. He scored last week, so Alec Pierce might be an option. I think he's like the 33rd best wide receiver to this point. So he has been putting up some numbers all season. And then a guy that you might just want to, stash on the bench is Curtis Samuel, coming off the bye, or going into the bye, I should say, over there in Buffalo. In the last 2 weeks, he's had 8 targets and 7 targets, I believe. So he's developed that chemistry with Josh Allen. I think it'll continue coming out of the bye as well. So again, Curtis Samuel might just be a guy that you stash on your roster come the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah. No, especially Keon Coleman still dealing with that wrist injury. Dalton Kincaid dealing with potentially a PCL injury. They need targets, right? I mean, Amari Cooper is obviously going to get a good share, but outside of Amari Cooper and Khalil Shakir, I mean, there's definitely some opportunity to go around. So definitely like Curtis Samuel there for the rest of the season. All right, folks, let's head on over to our early line locks, and let's get out of here and enjoy this Monday game. But before we do that, I got to tell you about our friends over at Underdog. That's right. Of course, our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Huge fans of Underdog because they've got everything you could possibly need. They've got fantasy projections for NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR. They even had the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight, if we want to call it fight, whatever the hell that was. So look, sign up with the promo code SGPNDoc to claim your special picks and a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPNDoc. Also, let's tell you about our friends over at Rhythm. That is right. We're talking models, and we're talking sports models. Because Rhythm, the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money line spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model or copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard or have Rhythm build you a model. Now you can track all the props in the Rhythm app, NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, folks, we've got our early line locks. These are the things that we love so much. When the number open, we want to get money on it, and we have money on it right now. All right, let's tell our friends what you have before we get out of here until Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, even though your New York Football Giants are making that quarterback swap, they still suck. The Bucs are coming off of a bye. So I am on the Bucs at -5. The Bucs have been playing pretty damn well, pretty much all season. We were talking about this before we went live, how the Bucs have been playing well. You know, they just ran into some tough matchups playing that #1 schedule. So I do like the Bucs at -5. Give me the Broncos at -5.5 as well at the Raiders. Defense travels, man, and the Raiders offense sucks. The Broncos defense is really, really good. So I do like the Broncos in that matchup. And then give me the pissed off Ratbirds heading out to LA to face the Chargers. So the Ravens, we know how that game went this past weekend. I absolutely loved it. But I think they do come back with a little bit of a vengeance against the LA Chargers. The Chargers, don't get me wrong, they've been playing really, really well. But Lamar Jackson's different, dude. And if you don't see him twice a year, defenses struggle against him. So give me the Ravens to bounce back against the Chargers on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. No. Lamar, other than against the Steelers, he does pretty damn well. And my Giants that one game. But look, I don't mind the Tampa Bay play. I think we're both, fans of Tampa Bay. Baker's been playing well. Jamil Dean coming back. We'll see about Mike Evans. I don't know if he's still got another week potentially of IR. So we'll have to check on that for the week. Yeah. But either way, they've been running the ball really well too. So let's talk about what I like this week. My early line locks, Arizona -1. I'm not buying into the fact that people are now thinking that the Seattle Seahawks are a decent team. I think they took advantage of a situation where San Francisco's beat up. I think Arizona is the best team in this division. I think Arizona is one of the best teams in the NFC. I pretty much would take them about almost anybody in the NFC except for Detroit at this point. I'm really high on Arizona. I think they're getting healthier with that offensive and defensive line. I think Kyler's playing really well. So give me Arizona on the road, -1. Give me New England Patriots. I'm also not brought into the Miami Dolphins. They were impressive against the LA Rams, but they weren't that impressive against the Raiders last week. I think that just shows how bad the Raiders are. Who has been somewhat impressive? Drake May. Drake May's shown me some things. He's kept it close in a lot of games. This Miami defense, you can run on them. You can get Ramondre going there. I think New England's still a team that fights. They're still a team that hasn't been really blown out in a while, hasn't been shown that they're ready to kind of give up there. So I really like New England there with the 7. It was 7.5 when it came out. And then San Francisco +2.5. I think George Kittle comes back. I think Nick Bosa has a chance. And I also am not bought in onto the Green Bay Packers. I'm sorry. I don't think Jordan Love's that great. I think they did almost everything in their power to lose that game. And
Yep.
other than the Bears being just a cursed franchise.
No doubt.
I don't think that's the truth. But, as much as Green Bay has owned the Bears, the 49ers have also owned the Packers historically.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we saw it in the playoff game where the Packers did everything in their power to win that game. And they just, Brandon Ayuk caught something off a guy's head. Like, sometimes you don't want to fade history, just like with the Steelers and Lamar. We're going to continue with that. So give me the 49ers plus 2.5. Also like them on the money line there. So, hey, those are our early line locks. That's what we like so much right now on Monday night. We appreciate you sticking with us, folks. We will not have a late start on Thursday. I will make sure I'll get on the intern to make sure we're on time. Don't give me that fucking face. You got anything for the good people before we get on out of here?
Nope.
All right. Looking over at 7-0 Texans. I think I saw the Cowboys went for a fake punt and did not get it, but I don't think they gave up any points.
They did not. No,
interception.
The Cowboys do have the ball back, so
yeah. CJ Stroud threw an interception. So hey, Under's still alive, baby. Under's still alive. All right, folks. Hey, we appreciate you. If you like hanging out with us, do us a favor. Follow us on X, YouTube, TikTok, and the Instagram. Get all your socials. We're posting different content there. And please make sure you download and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Yeah. Those downloads are very important to not only us, but to the big bosses upstairs.
Super cool app. Definitely helpful to be able to plug into all of the great podcasts that are on the network. But especially going back to the X and the Instagram and the YouTube, make sure you send it out to all the relatives before you get to Thanksgiving.
The holidays, baby.
Next week. Exactly. It's coming holiday season. We want to share the love. We want to, make sure that the family as a whole cashes these bets and not, be selfish. So
yeah, what's a better gift than two idiots talking football and cashing winners? I mean, I couldn't think of anything else I'd want for Christmas.
That's exactly right.
Or even Turkey Day, But all right, folks, you know what they say. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And here at the Degen Docs, we've got your prescription. All right, folks, from here at the Degen Docs, we are out of here.
Let it ride.
What's up, Degens? Doc here. As a proud member of the U.S. Army and a lover of football, sometimes those two things cross over on here. But as you probably already know, as a lowly captain, these are just my opinions. These are not opinions that are representative of the entire DoD or the U.S. Army. The same thing goes for any references to any commercial products or hyperlinks. Again, that does not constitute an endorsement from the DoD or the Army. I hope you